Ralph, are CT scanners going to ruin our sports card hobby? I'm going to share with you towards the end of this video what there's a lot of chatter, but I'm going to share with you what the end result will inevitably end up being from this. Stick around. What's going on, sports card hobby family? We have made it to the end of the week. Happy Friday. I hope that everybody is ready for the weekend as much as I am. It has been crazy this week across the country, the world, and in our sports card hobby. This is going to be an interesting video. A lot of different talking points here, but I think it's important, especially as we lead up into the National. Before I get started, of course, our Friday shoutouts, Card Capsule, the supplies that you need at prices that just make sense. Use Sports Card Dad code for 10% off your orders at Card Capsule for semi-rigids, top loaders, cases, all the good stuff. Check out Card Capsule. You've got a collection, you don't know where to go to sell it, justcollect.com can help you out. The folks over there on the website, just shoot them off a message, an email, you fill out the form, they will get back to you and let you know exactly what is going on. VintageBreaks.com, vintage set breaks, interesting offerings, and a ton of vintage card giveaways through VintageBreaks.com. If you go into their chat and put Sports Card Dad sent you, you'll get $20 off as a new customer to try them out. Wooten Sports Cards on Whatnot. Stop playing around. You're like, who should I hang out with over there on Whatnot? It's Wooten Sports Cards. Sells out just about every week. 5-star reviews. 12,000 plus followers on the platform. Wooten Sports Cards on Whatnot. Also want to give a shout out to Sports Card Collector Chronicles YouTube channel. One of my buddies over there did a great video taking stock on all the freebies and giveaways that you can expect at the National coming up here in Cleveland. I thought this was eye-opening because frankly, I don't pay attention to it. I just kind of arrived there, and of course you get kind of lost in the sea of what's what. So he's actually broken down in a recent video there of what are the giveaways, the promos, and different things so that you can kind of identify going into the show, all right, I want to visit this company or that company's booth and check out some of the freebies that they have got. So check out his YouTube channel, please. All right, so on the new CT scanner subject that we're talking about here, shouts to Sports Card Radio, Dan the Card Man, Neo, and others have put out videos. I haven't been able to watch everybody's video. It's been just a wild week for me. And as far as my videos, I just had other things to talk about this week. So I think I'm last to talk about the CT scanner thing. But I'm going to wrap it into larger topics here in the hobby, kind of like what we always do. And the first thing is, I think we need to first go to Wayne's Strange Brain. Ahan Wayne's Strange Brain did a video breaking down using a CT scanner, about a $1,500 CT scanner or scanners that cost about $1,500 to be able to see what was inside a Pokemon box/packs. And pretty easily being able to identify what those things are. Now, this is nothing new in the hobby. My God, if you go back to the late 80s, early 90s, and you all know exactly what I'm talking about if you're around my age, I'm 43, but you go into Walmart, you go into Kmart, and there would be packs everywhere. And I found out this later actually at school from other kids that were opening packs, and they're like, hey, there's these guys that go in there and they're basically like pack skimmers or this, they're pack readers. The card shop used to tell me the same thing, and it was probably the guys at the card shop that were actually going to the Walmart and the Kmart and skimming. But basically they're just kind of reading to see, they're able to see kind of the back card and they kind of know the configuration, or they're able to just kind of maneuver, the cello pack or whatever to be able to see what is in there, what's the top card, what's the bottom card, and able to kind of read these packs. And so they're picking and choosing. And so that would be kind of the thing as a kid, it kind of stunk because if I walk into the Walmart randomly, and back then it wasn't the same, it was loose packs everywhere. So it wasn't as if you had boxes that were sitting there and didn't know what was inside. You had loose packs, cello packs, etc. And they were usually strung out everywhere because you had 10-year-olds like me that were just grabbing packs and whatever. Or you had these grown men that were out there and trying to read what was inside. In today's world, it's evolved dramatically. We have people that weigh boxes because, of course, if it's a little bit heavier, then maybe it's got a heavier card in it. It's got a thicker card. It's got a hit in it. So you have people that weigh boxes. We've heard of reading serial numbers where there is, the combo of the serial number and the hit that's inside, if it ends in 347, if it ends in odd numbers or whatever the secret code is, everyone's trying to crack the code. Everybody's trying to crack the code on where are, the big hits in these boxes. Got people, of course, that are opening boxes and then they're trying to refill them with G.I. Joe cards, get them sealed back up, and hopefully getting them past authentication to then sell off to other people. And then now, of course, we've got CT scanners, and what can that mean? Technology, essentially. What can technology do to read into a box before you buy it? And it opens up a huge can of worms. We live in a world where a box is $5,000 to $7,000, maybe $10,000 for Flawless, depending on the year, depending on the draft class and all that. I'm just using Flawless as an example, as a high-end product. But $5,000 to $10,000, guys, is like a pretty decent used car. I mean, that is a hell of a lot of money. So what if you are somebody that is able to see inside the Flawless briefcase or the National Treasures box or whatever before you actually purchase it, or you purchase it, scan it, and return it? I don't know if some of these places accept returns. I don't know exactly how that works, but that's another possibility too that I thought of is, you could very easily pick and choose which boxes you are going to open based on the technology. Of course, the question goes out to, breakers and breaking companies. Do they have the ability, or are they now that this is kind of out in the open, are there now going to be people that are like, oh, okay, well, this box looks to have some okay hits. This one has great hits, so we'll put this one over here. People act like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Nobody would do that. Nobody would do that, right? I mean, we just watched guys in broad daylight in a place where there's cameras everywhere, pick up a case which had upwards of $1 million, $2 million of cards in it at the Dallas Card Show, and just walk out a side door with it. People will do all sorts of things to get an edge and to make money. And man, I mean, lately it's just been one thing after the other. The hobby is dramatically different over time, especially over the last 5 years. You've seen kind of the boom and people getting in. But the thing that has kind of come out of this to me is there's some eroding of the purity of it. I know people say oh, you're such a hobby purist, or whatever. The fact that you don't like card cleaning and you don't understand how it works and the repair and just taking care of these beautiful, gracious cards and making them more pristine. It's just so funny to me. I mean, if I'm going to go buy electronics and it's not new in the box, if it's been worked on, it's labeled as refurbished and it's at a discount. It's refurbished. It's been kind of worked on and tinkered on. It's been restored, if you will. I'm not paying full price for an open box. I'm paying the open box value. I'm not paying full price when it was broken and it had to be fixed. And what, you're going to now sell that as new? How would you feel if that's what we did with electronics? Wait, hold on a second. So this thing was broken. It had defects. The manufacturer fixed it, and then they marked it as new? That probably wouldn't fly with the public. Anyway, the card cleaning thing is this whole, I could make 1,000 different cases against it. I could talk for an hour on just that. But wrap this all in together. Card cleaning, CT scanners, card show thefts, add it all up, and it's just man, for me, I just want to just kind of pick my little niche where I'm going to operate in the hobby. But the idea of kind of doing all these different things for me, I'm just not going to do it. It's too expensive. Hell, look, if we were doing all this and these boxes were $50, it's okay, maybe somebody's screwing around, because essentially that's what it was in 1990. In 1990, it was there was still shady people doing shady things, but we weren't talking about this sort of money. We're now at a level where there's just so much more money, industry growth, which is great, but everybody, I feel like the industry companies are behind. They're trying to catch up, and I think some companies are doing a better job than others, trying to catch up with the scams. And the people that are oh my God, look at this, this is just right for me to come in here and do all sorts of damage. They don't have these security measures in place. There's no way to know if this is checked. I mean, people are coming in and they're trying to get one over on what ends up being us as the end collector long-term holder. That's what it boils down to, because it all just gets more expensive for collector/long-term holder folks. If you're someone that flips cards or whatever, you're moving in and out and that's all you do, and there's a lot of folks like that, and that's fine, totally fine. And maybe that's where most people will just operate in that world, because they're kind of hey, look, if there's shenanigans and stupidness, I'm in and out of these cards. I don't care. And I get it. I mean, that's fine. And that's a big part of the sports card hobby right now. It's a huge part of what it is. The whole repack thing. It's just you buy into a repack and then you sell the crap back to the repacker, and it's just kind of this cycle of thing that happens. But really for you, it's just an entertainment piece of like, maybe I'll get the big hit out of it, the lottery ticket, and then you move out of it, you do it again. It's kind of like it's just pulling the slot machine or whatever, pulling the slots. But the end result of this, the end result of all this stuff, and it gives a perfect excuse to Michael Rubin and the folks at Topps, is they're only going to sell direct. That's what I think we all end up. They could use this as an excuse of like, hey, look, how are we supposed to know? The public doesn't have confidence. How are we supposed to know that people aren't using a CT scanner? How are we supposed to know this? We're only going to sell direct to consumer, and he will have the backing of a lot of people. He will have the backing of a lot of the public, a lot of the collectors, the consumers, the buyers, the people that are spending their money on all this stuff. If you can only get it from Topps, or you can only get it from Panini or whatever, I just wonder the long-term confidence in the secondary market. Because there's a lot of people that are getting in and out of product. And I'm just wondering, as this stuff continues on, now at first it's CT scanners, now it'll probably be some high-tech thing. I don't know, what's the next thing gonna be, like 3D printers or something? We 3D printed a rare Pokemon box. It's like, who the hell knows what's coming next? But I think that that's going to be what they inevitably have to do. We're going to sell direct to consumer, secondary market, buy at your own risk. Buy at your own risk. And right now people are doing it and it's selling like gangbusters. It's selling like gangbusters. And then I guess it'll kind of come down to, did the card shop buy that box from DealerNet or did they buy it directly from Topps? And maybe there's some sort of differentiator there, some labeling that's different. Maybe there's something that changes. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that, but I would think that that's probably what it's going to be, is they're going to have a direct-to-consumer labeling that's different, or a box that's different, probably a few different kind of security things, so that you can tell that came directly from Topps and that did not come from the secondary market. And the other way that you'll know is because you received it, because it was shipped to you directly from Topps. It won't be this like, oh, well, how can you tell if it was from, that's going to be the same packaging that the next guy's going to have. Well, the way that you'll know is because you're not buying it from that guy, you're ordering it directly off of the website. That's how inevitably you're going to know. But this gives Michael Rubin, who already wants to go direct to consumer. I know that there's so much talk about hobby shops. I don't believe it. I don't buy into it yet. The only thing that is going to end up mattering in the end is the bottom line. The bottom line is the only thing that is going to matter, especially if they become a public company. The only thing that's going to matter is the bottom line. And if it means that hobby shops get very little product or no product or breakers or whatever it is, then that's exactly what it means. All right, friends, let me know your thoughts in the comments. CT scanners, is it the beginning of the end, or is this a nothing burger and nobody's going to use this, and maybe there's only going to be like a couple of people will use it, and this is a nothing burger type news story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.